trying to understand how places over time are transformed. So I'm interested in the change in place. And of course, specifically with respect to tourism, I think the main work that I've done has looked from various perspectives on the reasons why and how tourism changes place. And I've been looking primarily at mountain destinations, particularly in the local destination, mountain destination near Vancouver. While a lot of my work has been empirically based, and I think it's one of the important things, and I think one of the contributions that is distinctive about my work is that I have stuck with one place for a long time. And with empirical work, we see a lot of case studies published, and it's great to have case studies, but sometimes it's very hard to connect the dots if you're trying to move forward with thinking about where this is taking you. So I think it's important to have some aspect of trying to understand longitudinally and people to embed themselves, not everyone, but certainly enough. Working with the resort municipality of Whistler and doing some of the early work in which they were trying to understand the importance of growth management and how, when you're trying to grow, obviously from a tourism economy and marketing perspective, how do you do that in the context of what is a community also? And so particularly the work that I did survey work, trying to understand, I suppose, quality of life stuff early on. But a lot of it was understanding what the implications of having policy at the resort level that controlled growth and how you manage growth. So I think that was the starting point of that. And that was a stepping stone then to getting more interested in the notion of governance and how you actually engage the variety of stakeholders. And this was in an era when the notions of sustainability were evolving, so trying to think broadly around a sustainability agenda for the destination. I think one of the challenges for researchers, and this is sort of where I've been swimming around a little bit, of course, thinking about sustainability and governance around sustainability, how you take notions of sustainability and actually operationalize them, sort of getting it from an idea to practice is huge and has largely failed. There are, I think that in Whistler, where I've been working, there have been some successes, but it's a, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe 2 steps back, and you snakes and ladders sort of process. The challenge of understanding how to plan beyond the short-term political frameworks, political and economic frameworks, is a huge challenge. Under neoliberal agendas of growth first, and so where everything is about growth, at the expense often of both the social and environmental components of this, I think that's the big challenge. At the end of the day, economics always seems to be in the sustainability basket, always seems to be the one that trumps everything else. And that's a challenge for place. Behavioral geographer, I was interested in cognition and how places how individuals responded to places in terms of their behavior and their mental images of place and all this sort of thing. So that early behavioral geography was important. How do people behave, and therefore how do we plan and manage places that reflect an understanding of behavior? And so you look here to the architectural and design professions, and this initially in my early work was not looking at tourism, but on new mining towns in isolated northern parts of Canada. Theoretical basis, if you like, was actually looking to larger urban areas, and particularly some of the urban regime theory, and trying to understand the politics of place. And so I became quite fascinated by the idea of where the power lay and how decisions were made, and how you tried to understand changing values that ended up being reflected either through democratic process or whatever in those decision makers who were moving forward with ideas. And so the second theoretical part had to do with looking towards urban regime theory and how those policy-related issues changed.